Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 2, self-kindness of the 21-day challenge with myself here at Zest again and Leanne from Live and Life Wellness. Thank you, Leanne, for coming along. And as always, my beautiful attendant, Mona Lisa, who is always, she manages everything really, let's be honest. So self-kindness. So when we've talked with the healthcare group earlier this week about that concept of self-kindness, they were sort of talking about the fact that that feels weird because they are always the one offering kindness, so they're always out there going, yeah, I'm the kind person and I do the caring and stuff. And so therefore, if I'm being kind to myself, well, that feels a bit weird and it feels a bit selfish but there's consequences. If we do not do some sort of self-kindness, there is going to be consequences for us personally. And I guess that's what I want to talk about a bit today with this group and go, what are the consequences? If we do not practice self-kindness, there's going to be something occur, right?
Yeah.
And what happens for you, Leanne, if how are you going with self-kindness? And what happens, like, what do you notice when you're not practicing it?
So this is the aspect of self-compassion that I, for a long time, struggled with, was self-kindness. And I was the type that would should on myself. So I should be doing this. I should. Why aren't I? Generalizing, everyone else is doing this and I'm not. And so for me, what I noticed when I sat back and reflected is that the more that I wasn't practicing self-kindness, the more I was being critical of others. So
So you're saying there, because you were not doing it, you were kind of judging others because you felt like they did it and they would bet. What was it that
there was a two thing. There was kind of like this, because I wasn't kind to myself and I was running this program about perfectionism and grinding it out, but grinding it out to the point of exhaustion. Then I was then projecting that onto either my colleagues or the kids that I teach. So I wasn't able then so I was being over self. I guess the opposite of being kind to yourself is being critical and judgmental.
Yes.
So because I wasn't having that, because I had that strong inner critic inside of me, I was probably setting too high expectations of the kids that I teach.
Yeah.
And also my own colleagues as well.
Yep.
So I guess you asked me, how do I be kind to myself? I guess I've gone in and I've switched that around and said, this is what happened. This is what's happened for me.
Yeah.
When I noticed that I needed to be kind to myself.
Yes. Because you weren't enjoying yourself by the sounds of it. You were sort of like, I'm getting really cranky and I am not having fun.
Yeah, and then what happens is you build in this inner resentment. So you go, you like, because your logical part of your brain goes, you're a teacher, one of my school values at the school where I teach is empathy. And we want to walk our talk and we want to show empathy to our students and our parents and our colleagues. But I didn't have that own empathy and I guess self-compassion and kindness for myself. So I really struggled to be empathetic.
Yep. Got you.
Mm.
So, did you notice that you were getting, what was the consequences of that though? Did you notice you were getting frustrated easily? Was that leading to you sort of maybe, having more reactive behavior where, sometimes, when we have reactive behavior, we start the self-soothing behavior. So we eat too much fatty food or we drink alcohol or whatever. Was that some of the consequences of it, or what were you noticing?
Yeah, so you run the short fuse because you inside of your mind, the inner critic's going, and you're trying to tame that, and
Yep.
so you're not present and you're not aware.
Yep.
So the
Right.
internal thermometer is rising,
Yep.
and yeah, you blurt out things, you get frustrated with your colleagues. You might type an email and then go, oh, actually, why did I press send?
Yep.
Um, you know, um, because the tone of the email can come across, quite
Sharp
aggressive.
and short. Yep.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the students that I teach have school refusal, or the modern day word for school refusal is school can't. And so, a lot of these students are coming severely disengaged from school.
Yep.
So, and they don't trust the school system, and they don't
Yep.
have faith in teachers. So it's so important for me to be on track with
Yeah.
my own self-kindness, because that is exactly what these kids need
Yes.
themselves. Mm.
Exactly. And you've got to role model it. Like you're almost got to role model this self-kindness so that they go, oh, I get it. Like, Miss does it. So I see how it works for her. So I want to do it.
Totally. That whole emotional regulation. So we switched over to a new model of doing our online lessons, and it was really tricky at the start.
Yeah.
And so I was really clunky, and I was able to say to students, thank you for your patience. This is something that I'm really struggling with, but with more practice, I know I'm going to get better at it.
Yeah.
And the students were really, really lovely about it. But yeah, if we want our students, or I guess this is about teachers, but same with the patients. I mean, if
Yes.
it's so important that if we want them to be regulated and being self-kind, but even being kind to each other,
Yeah.
so important that we do it.
Exactly. And I think that's why this week has been so great, because each day, like Mona Lisa gets us a prompt that sort of talks about, well, how can I speak to myself more like a friend? Because I'm really kind to my friends. So how can I be really kind to me? And how can how can I give myself permission to rest? And you know what? I'm a bit tired. So I'm going to actually put my feet up and I'm going to rest. And how can I sort of stop shooting on myself, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Well, no, that's someone else's expectation. My expectation is gentler than that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to buy in to whatever Insta fame a person's telling me I should do something right now. I'm going to do what I need. And I need to rest right now, and I need to be kind to myself. So time out. I'm going to just go to bed early tonight so I can have a good sleep and be really good for tomorrow.
Mm, mm.
And that's what this beautiful week is about. But I know, you're all thinking, oh, well, it's good for a week, Sue, but, like, how am I going to keep doing this thing? But I guess that's the thing. We're just wanting to get the ball rolling for you this week and think about, well, if you build the habit of self-kindness, what would that look like?
Mm. And I think self-kindness, some people think self-kindness equals self-care. And it is an act of self-care, but it doesn't actually have to involve you spending money. Because quite often, I'll be talking to parents and they'll say, oh, I know I've got to do yoga, but I had a parent who was a foster parent of two children and then had some of her own children. So she was totally run off her feet. And as we got talking, I was like, do you think that your self-care is actually taming that inner critic?
Yeah.
And that won't cost you anything.
No,
You
exactly.
know, just noticing and becoming aware of when that inner critic starts firing off inside you.
Yeah. The permission, like, I mean, I was talking yesterday, I had a workshop and just someone was like, oh, I should go to bed earlier. Great. Why not? It won't cost you anything to go to bed earlier.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to pay for that. You
Yeah,
can just
exactly.
go.
Exactly.
So it is that permission, isn't it? Like, and so permission to yourself is free. But yes, you have to get used to sort of tapping into it and going, I need this. Yeah.
And quite often ending the day with things like, I got nothing done today. Today was just a disaster. And that's kind of been my act of self-care, where I go, instead of saying what I didn't get done, what's one thing that I did?
Yes.
Even if it is as simple as, hey, I turned up to work today. I mean, I might have not ticked everything off my to-do list, but I was still there. I turned up to work.
Showing
Yep.
up, yeah.
Showing up, exactly.
Yeah. Mona Lisa today has just, she sort of indicated to me that she, there was a big bunch of things she was confused about that I've asked her to do, of course. But in hindsight, there wasn't that many things at all. So, it's kind of that thing, isn't it? How we build it in our head. But then, is it that much? No, actually. And Mona Lisa has done an amazing job. So, it's that positivity, isn't it? It's like, actually, no, you've done a really good job because you've done all of this. Well, that's massive.
And in NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, quite often we talk about the lens that we put over things, which is we generalize or we delete or we distort. There's a meme going around, or an Instagram post that I've seen a lot popping up on my feed, about saying to people, showing people a picture, and most of the items are blue and only a few are yellow. I don't know if you've seen that. And then they're saying, look at this picture, and then, wait a couple of minutes, and then saying to the person, well, how many of those things did you notice in that image were yellow?
Yep.
And a lot of people were like, yellow? There was no yellow. Because quite often if we're running that inner critic, we're only, for example, or we're not practicing self-kindness, then we're not actually being aware. We're deleting all the good things around us.
Yep.
Or we can be distorting.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Because, if we look, from a neuroscience perspective, we are wired that way, to be high negative drive.
Yes.
So that's the thing we have to moderate and watch in ourselves and go, am I flipping into that higher negative drive here? And so where can I give myself a timeout and just practice this art of self-compassion a little bit more, so that I'm, sort of not getting too wild woolly here. I'm keeping myself safe and well, and, I'm okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, this is always, as always, a lovely chat. But back to everyone. So I guess this week we want to be really curious with people and go, what's this? What is your focus for self-kindness moving forward? That you do this small thing that, as Leanne said, is not expensive. It's just maybe, what Mona Lisa's talked about before with the pause. Mona Lisa's big act, I know, this week has been to pause. Hasn't it? That's your self-kindness act, isn't it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
Pause and rest.
Pause and giving, and when you feel like you're getting a bit wound up, you're just going, pause. Am I wound up? Wait a minute. Yeah. Yeah. So, what is that small thing that does not need to cost money Doesn't need to cost like an hour of time. It just needs to be something you're going to commit to moving forward that will just give you a little bit of space to go, okay, that's a bit of kindness to myself. Thank you, self. That was nice.
Mm.
So thinking on that, Leanne, what's the one thing you're going to do?
Or not saying I can't do that because, and just being able to be confident in saying, I won't be able to make that time. Can we catch up another time?
Great. Because that just gives you more space.
That's
more
right.
time. Yeah, which you need, because you can't be everything to everyone all the time without losing yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, lovely people. You're amazing. Is there anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered it.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you next week because it's week 3 of the 21-day challenge, and it is all about common humanity next week, and that is awesome fun. So we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.